Hey, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Turnaround Marriage Live. We're so glad you're joining us. And guys, if you're out there tonight and maybe you've been successful in a lot of aspects of life, maybe you're even the person or people that others come to and they're asking you for advice in their marriage. Maybe you're involved in ministry, or maybe you're just a leader in your community or a business owner, or you're well respected in the business place. And in so many aspects of life, you've got things together, but behind the scenes in your marriage, things are messy and you don't know why. And you've not been able to fix things, and you've been trying things and you've not been able to figure out why we haven't been able to be successful in our marriage. Well, this is exactly the place that you need to be tonight.
Yes, absolutely. We want to share tonight why we couldn't fix our own marriage when we were struggling and when people were coming to us and we were able to help others, but why we couldn't fix it ourselves. And so the reason we want to share that with you is not just so we can crack open our vulnerabilities and show all of our warts, but it is really because probably you'll be able to identify one or more of these reasons why you haven't been able to fix your marriage. Identifying why you haven't been able to fix it is actually the first step to actually deciding, wow, actually things can change. Things can be different. So that's what we want to share with you tonight, is why we weren't able to share. So guys, if you're watching live, we'd love for you to say hello, drop us a comment, tell us where you're watching from, or if you're watching the replay, go ahead and put #replay. We'd love to see who's watching tonight and interact with you guys. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive in.
Yeah, and I think it's fair just to start off by sharing a little bit of our story. And that was really the bottom line was that I had been trained as a pastor. I had done pastoral counseling, premarital counseling. And for years, literally over a decade and a half, people had come to us, come to us for advice in their marriage. I was teaching Sunday school classes. I was counseling people in private. There were so many aspects. I was preaching on it. I was teaching on it, leading Sunday school classes. And truth is, behind the scenes, things were not the way that they appeared on the outside. Now, it doesn't mean that we didn't have some good moments along the way, but it was really, really frustrating when we had some really strong difficulties in our own marriage. And really, we could even say there were some dark moments in our marriage too. And it was really hard when I felt like a fraud. Like I'm trying to preach about it and I couldn't do it at home. I was trying to almost like putting on this one face, but behind the scenes, I knew what it really was.
Yeah.
You know, and your perspective, I'm sure, wasn't too dissimilar to that.
Yeah, because I'm sitting in the pew listening to you preach a sermon. And for any of you pastors' wives out there, and your marriage is a mess, and you're like, oh, how could he be up there preaching that? But he's not doing that. He's not doing that with me. And it's just like, and you're sort of seething in your seat. And so I had this sort of self-righteousness about me, like I'm the one trying, and he is just over here being a fraud. And it was just a big mess. And here we are, able to help others coming to us, able to do premarital counseling, able to work with young people, young families coming to us with their marriage in trouble. And yet here we're at home, going home, and just arguments and silence and, distance and just a lack of intimacy and closeness. And it was hard. And as we've been reflecting on why were we so stuck? Why were we not able to fix it then for this good, 10-year chunk of our marriage, of our 27 years together? Yeah. Man, we missed out on a lot of things. So let's talk about some of those reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing that was really clear in our minds was that we were trying to piecemeal things. Like we were drawing from different books and different resources. And when we went to different retreats, we had different experts, we had different opinions on one hand, but then also it wasn't just that we were trying to piecemeal together solutions in our marriage. We were trying to piecemeal together fixes in a lot of other areas. So we're having financial pressure. So we're like, oh, I guess we got to read a Dave Ramsey book or go to a financial resource. We got to go there. And then I was having health problems. And so it was like, okay, we need to get answers here. And we're focused on different seasons, parenting. Now we got parenting issues. We got to get help here. We have kids with special needs. We got to get focused there. And what we didn't realize is we had been it was the urgency of the now, the urgency of the situation. We had to drive to fix that one thing. And we were grabbing here, then going here, then going here. And what we did not realize, you need to hear us on this. This is so important, is that we are holistic beings. I don't mean holistic, weird thing. Suicide culture. I just mean we're body, mind, soul, and spirit. We are individuals we are different, and we're made up of a sum. And it's not just me, but if I've got pain in my body and I don't feel good, a lot of other aspects of life are not looking well. I'd start spending money. That would make you mad. Our marriage wasn't going well. And then I'm trying to fix this thing here, and I'm showing up in our marriage, and me as an individual hurting with dysfunction going on in me personally. That absolutely comes together because we are the sum of two.
Yeah.
And so we have to think in the sense that holistically there needs to be healing.
Yeah.
And fair to say that it's, well, very important. I don't know if you probably want to add to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I didn't understand how, my emotional state could affect our conversations. I don't know how I didn't figure that out, but I just, if I'm upset, I'm just going to let you know I'm upset. Or if I, or why am I thinking? And I'm just ruminating and I'm journaling about how just terrible this is. And, and my negative thinking was just spiraling, even though I thought I was a pretty positive person, or I'm over here in my prayer life begging God for this, and yet just complaining. And it was like my body, my heart, my soul, and my spirit were all like, they weren't all healthy. They weren't all cohesive. Like for me to be healthy, I have to show up healthy, and I can't piecemeal that. I have to be healthy as a person in all those areas so that I can show up in my marriage. So that piecemealing was the first thing. Maybe you're out there and you've been piecemealing things, and there's a lot of stress, and you've got issues with your kids. You've got issues at work. You've got issues with your health. And there's just like, what do we attack first? Really, what we want to say is you need a holistic approach. You've got to be healthy individuals so that you can have a healthy marriage. But the second reason we were not able to fix our marriage at that time was we had no tools. And if someone had handed us the tools, we probably wouldn't have known how to use them anyway. We joke around about how Scott, he doesn't know how to do anything in the kitchen other than like come in there and eat.
I'm good at the microwave.
And so, if I had handed him a mixer and a bowl and a recipe, like I don't know that he could like understand and figure it out. Like he doesn't know what these things do. Same thing if he were to he could go out there and build a deck, but if you were to hand me the tools and I wouldn't know what to do with them, I don't know what a power driver, how to use that, a power saw, like, first of all, you need tools, and then you've got to know how to use them. And we just didn't have them. We had no tools to resolve conflict. We had no tools on how to communicate and share our hearts really honestly. We had no tools how to truly like show up as the best version of ourselves besides just being frustrated. Like we just did not have those tools. We didn't know what to do with these big feelings we were feeling and how to let them go. We only knew how to ruminate, how to just kind of stay there and just spiral and just be frustrated with the other person. So the tools was a big reason.
It's true. And it's not that we weren't aware of there being tools out there, but I kind of thought of it like, oh, the communications tools that are out there is, here is the talking stick. Now it is your turn. And that seems so dumb and so out there. And not that that's I guess it is a tool that some people use. I don't think it's very effective because it seems like you're treating each other like children, and it's not very effective.
It's my turn to talk.
It's my turn to talk now. We're going to use a talking stick in our live tonight. So you're absolutely right, Rachel. And it wasn't just that we didn't realize that there were tools out there, but we didn't know how to apply them. We didn't know how to use them in our specific situation because we did have not only communication breakdown in the sense we weren't hearing each other, but we were getting frustrated with each other. And so like tools that we teach our clients about regulating your own emotional state before you even talk is so important, because I keep hearing you say, like, I was sitting in the pew and I was seething, and I was like, and I wasn't looking at you because I didn't want to see that. Right. And it was even more so when we come together that night. It was even more so when we would try to navigate through things. And so it absolutely, the tools are so important. Number 3, and this is also really important that you hear us on tonight, is that there were conflicting opinions. Like, who do I listen to? Even between Rachel and I, we had a difficult time trying to navigate, oh, this is what so-and-so said, or this is what this book said. Well, I was talking to a friend, and it was kind of like, well, who do we listen to? And it would be like, well, that was a woman that you listened to, and that, she's going to be slanted, or that was your family. And so how can they understand from my side? They're going to be opinionated on your side. And so that's exactly what happens when people come to us, is they're looking for answers. And so who do they talk to but the people that are closest to them? And you ask 5 people their opinion, you're going to get 5 different answers, and it gets really, really confusing about who you should talk to. And just as an example for us, like we went to our counselor at one point, and he was like, yeah, you guys are pretty much doomed. Like, what? Thanks. It was
not an encouraging moment.
No, it was not very encouraging. And it wasn't like you guys were going to get divorced. It was kind of like you're stuck with each other, kind of. You know, you're doomed to just suffer and for it to suck. And it just
had 2 different counselors tell us that, by the way.
Was it 2?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my. Yeah, I guess I put one of them out of my mind. So the conflicting opinions is so much a big part of this. And then it's even worse when you're trying to figure out together who you listen to. It's hard enough by yourself. It's even worse when it's 2 of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the 4th reason that we couldn't fix our marriage, and maybe this applies for you guys, is we needed an outside perspective. You know, we often say the inside of the jar can never read the outside of the label. When you're in the middle of it, you just don't have the eyes to see from the outside in. You don't have that perspective. You only see what you see. You only see, you know, your wounds, your hurt, your whatever. And you're not really able to zoom out and see your own blind spots. You know, that whole like plank in your eye versus the speck in your brother's eye. This applies here, you know, because you often need someone to say, hey, here, this is here. Let me get this out, you know, and I need to get this out in my own eye. Sometimes you don't even know that it's there. You're so blinded to it. The enemy of your soul is here to blind you, to tell you it is all your spouse's fault, to tell you it is them that they are the enemy. They are the ones that need to change. They're the ones that really need to own up and do it. And, you know, and when you don't have that outside perspective, you can easily stay in that mindset instead of making the decision, you know what, I'm going to show up differently. I'm going to work on the things I can work on. I'm going to do what I can do just to heal and save this marriage. And we're here to tell you, with the right tools, with the right opinion, with the right perspective, and with that, without piecemealing it and having a holistic approach, absolutely it's possible. And it's inevitable that you be able to save your marriage and be able to turn things around. And even if, God forbid, your marriage doesn't make it, we're here to tell you, when you get the right help, you're going to have absolute healing and clarity, a different way to process even everything that's happened. And there's so much we just celebrate every single week with our clients, like the ways we see God showing up as they dive in and as they're willing to do the work on their own heart, on their own mind, on their own soul, and really get after the work that God's called them to do, to show up differently in their marriage for His glory and for the good of their family.
It's so true. And we just actually enrolled somebody whose spouse had already been part of our program just yesterday because of exactly this. Like, she couldn't see the forest for the trees. And when we were able to help her to see some of those, not only the shortcomings, but some of the ways that she had been dealing with things for a long time, she didn't know any other way. She started to really change. She started to really get that healing. And her husband was like so blown away. He's like, what is going on? And he wanted to be part too. So absolutely, it was amazing.
So cool.
We love stories like that. We have seen that it's really, really difficult for any one of us to see from what's going on from our own perspective, because we have habits that we've known and tapes that we've had for decades that we've been rehearsing. And so, for example, like if you're just telling yourself, well, I'm just dumb, or I'm just a failure, and you're showing up to your marriage like, I'm dumb and I'm a failure, and like no one's addressing that, well, you're showing up like you're dumb and you're a failure to your marriage. And it probably isn't true, but you're showing up that way. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And you need someone oftentimes to lovingly say to you, yo, brother, wake up. And this can't be your spouse, and it can't be someone close to you. And this actually goes back to the conflicting opinions too, because if you ask your mom or dad, oh, what should I do? 99% of the time, they're going to align themselves with your hurtness. Not the right grammar, but you get the point. They're going to align themselves with your pain, and they're going to say, oh, poor Johnny, your wife has been mean to you. They're not going to say it that way, but that's exactly what happens most of the time. And they're not leveling with you. They're not calling you out. They're not calling you to the best version of yourself. And then you've got another conflicting opinion. Well, mommy said that my wifey's mean. It doesn't come out that way. I'm you know, whatever the word is, making
conflating it,
making it bigger than it actually is, but is still the underlying truth. So it is so important, and that's what needed to happen for us too. We actually hired someone, ironically, to help us with our finances, and he was a financial coach. And he helped us to see that. He challenged us about our own stories about what we were listening to. He also was the outside perspective. He also helped us to see that we're trying to piecemeal things together, and also gave us some tools. And so we were able to realize through that process how quickly things could radically change.
Yeah. And because here's the thing, like in those 10 years when we were really struggling, we were still able to help others with their marriage. The problem was we could not apply that same stuff to ourselves. We didn't see how it all fit together. We knew what we wanted, what we needed to do, but we didn't want to. And we didn't know how to get in our own head to be able to decide to make, because we didn't even see the lies we had believed for so long. We didn't even see the things we had told ourselves over and over again that felt true. So probably if you've been stuck for a long time, probably if you've either drifted apart and now it's like, we don't even have anything in common anymore, or there's just been so much arguing, so many hurts and so many woundedness. Now there's so many scars that we just kind of hide our hearts from each other. Either in either of those situations, we recognize that you've got to get in here and in here first, and you need that holistic approach. So guys, if you're sick and tired of doing marriage the way you've been doing, sick and tired of trying to piecemeal and not having any tools, having all these conflicting opinions and needing that outside perspective and recognizing you haven't had the right one yet, go ahead and book that free complimentary breakthrough call with us. We're here to help you get clarity about the problem, help you create a strategy to be able to turn your marriage around and really bring it the healing and life that it deserves. And then if show you a strategy to get there. And if you want our help to do that, we'll show you what that would look like as well. And guys, we're here to tell you so much can change with that right strategy. So you can go to turnaroundmarriage.com/call, book that call, set that sacred time aside for yourself, book it, block it in your calendar, set yourself a reminder. Don't no-show for the call like so many people have done when they get scared or they get busy or they haven't prioritized fixing their marriage now.
It's so true. And, I just want to kind of end our time tonight by just saying it felt so hopeless when we were there. It felt like here I'm the one that's supposed to be the expert, and I didn't know how to fix us. And I know there's others out there tonight that are going to hear this that are thinking, we got it together in so many other aspects of life. Why can't we figure it out here? Guys, we're here to tell you, if that's you, we get it. And we also really know how to help. And when you can start applying the things we've talked about tonight, if you are successful in other areas, I promise you, success can begin happening in your marriage way quicker than you can imagine. Just like the example I just gave a few moments ago, a few weeks into the program, and her husband is like, who are you? Right? So we're here to tell you, massive change is not only possible, it can happen way faster than you could imagine too.
Yeah. So guys, let's talk soon. Go to turnaroundmarriage.com/call, and we will talk to you then.
Take care.
Bye-bye.